Here we're going to be taking a look at reflections and how do you draw the image of a figure under a reflection. Now the easiest way that I find to work on a reflection is using tracing paper again. Very common method for us here. So what I'm going to do is if I'm going to reflect Z across this axis, I'm going to go ahead and give myself a copy of the axis that I'm reflecting across just so I can line it up in the future. I'm going to trace Z onto my tracing paper. I'm going to fold my tracing paper in half on that traced line. That was my axis of reflection. This is going to allow me to trace the Z on the flip side of the paper. Now there's a little bit of graphite there from my pencil, so I line up my initial Z and I trace it again with a heavy hand. And if I've traced it with a heavy hand, I have a very faint image of it on my paper. Incredibly faint image. So I need to trace it just a little bit heavier for myself. There we go. And I get my new Z, not incredibly well traced at that moment, but I've created a reflection of an image on the graph. But what if I'm provided with a reflection and told to find its axis of reflection? So if I had another Z right here, what I would do is I would use my tracing paper again, and I would go ahead and take these two Z's and trace them onto the paper. I'm not worried about tracing anything with the axis, but just the two Z's. Now using these two Z's, I'm going to fold my paper, lining my two Z's up on top of each other. I want them exactly married. So when I fold the paper in half, and I now have a fold, I'm going to dirty the underside so that I can use my tracing paper technique again. I'm going to lay that back down on top of my image, and using a straight edge to help things kind of be nice, because it would be nice to be nice every now and then. It is kind of more important than many things. I get a faint image on my paper. And what I'm able to do now is trace that. When I trace it, now all I have to do is write the equation of that line in y is mx plus b form. And I now have the line of reflection for that point. So I'm able with tracing paper to, one, make a reflection of a point across an axis of symmetry, and I'm able to find an axis of symmetry given 2 points.